Hi, this is Robert with Fit Reno. Today we're going to welcome back Kyle Shade, everybody. Kyle, welcome back, bud. Hey, today we're going to go over some functional movement system. Today that is in regards to imbalances of the body. When you're getting ready to start a program, whether it be a weightlifting program, a running program, let's say an overall weight loss program, a lot of people started and they just go and have no idea if they have any imbalances, need to have any corrections made. They just start on a weightlifting program, sometimes even on just machines, if that's what feels good, is that their basic protocol for what someone may know in the gym. You know, for someone who's just starting off, who's not seeing a trainer, they don't know anything about being assessed and understanding imbalances or range of motions, things like that. So today, Kyle's going to talk to us about some of that, and we're going to go over a protocol and an assessment that will talk about these imbalances and how you need to be assessed, probably more than likely anybody, especially if you're over 40 years of age, to have a longevity without any longer lasting injuries or imbalances in your body that can be easily corrected. So Kyle, I'm going to let you have the stage. Run over for me real quick. What is this functional movement system, and what are you going to do with it?
The functional movement system, I was actually introduced to it several years ago when I worked at an auto manufacturing plant. And I thought this is kind of odd, using a functional movement screen to test people that we were hiring in to work on production line work. But the more I looked at it, the more I thought it fit for the average Joe all the way up to the athlete. Because as we're starting an exercise program, or even just stopping to take a look where you're at during your current exercise program, if you haven't screened for how your body moves through normal movement patterns, so those could be anything from squatting, lunging, how your shoulders move, how your hips move. If you're not moving correctly and you're training either resistance or endurance, you develop some type of imbalance. You can have tightness in areas that you don't want tightness, strengths or weaknesses that can hinder you in the long run. So by doing the functional movement screen, a series of 7 tests that we perform, we can usually pick out those areas that are the weakest or the most imbalanced, and we can start working on those to get you back to moving through normal movement patterns to help keep you injury-free.
Wow. And that's very important these days, everybody. You know, the longevity of anything, especially an exercise program for everybody out there who's taking care of themselves and living a healthy lifestyle. Now, Kyle and I had a chance to speak, obviously, before we started filming today, and we addressed the situation of different type of people, maybe even oriented towards athletes, of someone who is a runner versus, let's say, a football player. Now, some of the imbalances with somebody who's a little bit thicker, a little bit more muscle bound, and has been an athlete the majority of their life, they know how to move. So they can hide some of these imbalances. The whole point of these tests, no matter what your level is, to go through and find your imbalances so you can become a better athlete and still excel. Even if you're a starting NFL player or starting NHL player or Major League Baseball, it doesn't matter. Even if you're maybe someone like along the lines of Tiger Woods and all his back problems, or something like those even in golf, or a pitcher in baseball, it could be anybody. Whether you're a high-end top pro or whether you're a high school athlete or even lower, you know, finding out how to get your body to move and get the most out of it year after year is going to either lengthen your career or maybe start a great one for you at every level that you can go to. So as a runner, we talked about having the imbalance maybe being easier to see.
Right.
You know, because their body isn't so muscle bound. And a runner is going to run, obviously, someone who's going to run maybe a marathon, 50-miler, or a 100-miler, if that case, which Kyle here has some training days on for himself going on right now, which we addressed. And watching the body, the skeletal structure of a runner over a long period of time, how they break down if they're not able to hold their posture and run correctly. Now, am I talking that correctly?
Right. So the great thing is about this test is we can, address anyone from the endurance person to the quick sprint athlete, running back. But it also applies to the average Joe, which is a good thing that I got it mostly for. I do work with some athletes, but most of my clientele is the average Joe coming in. They want to get in better shape. They may be 30, 40 years old. They may have exercised a little bit in the past, but they usually develop some type of tightness or weakness or imbalance somewhere in their body. And if you start training without addressing those, you can actually, progress that imbalance or weakness. So by addressing those and kind of taking charge, we can hopefully prevent injury and help you get you back to moving correctly in the long run.
Awesome. We're going to break right here, and we're going to get set up. We'll be right back at you in a second.
All right, so we've determined who the test is for. We can use it for the average Joe coming into the gym, all the way up to the advanced athlete. A good example of why we do the functional movement screen again is to see if we can find any of those imbalances side to side, or if we can find some weak spots in your body that aren't moving through those optimal movement patterns. So I'm going to demonstrate one of the tests from the functional movement screen to demonstrate how we would identify those and to show you just what we're looking for as a tester on this. So this test is called the hurdle step. We rest down on our back. I'm going to place one foot up over the band. I'm going to place my heel on the other side and bring it back. So on one side, I've got pretty good movement. A lot of times we'll see an imbalance side to side. So on the other side, we'll see a little out to the side. To get that foot over, you've got to compensate in some way because we're tighter through that right hip and right side more so than the left. So next, I'm going to give you a corrective exercise that we can do to help fix that imbalance. So now that we've found our weak spot or imbalance, we're going to give you an exercise to correct that. And one with the hurdle step that we can do would be a stride with rotation. So I'm going to do a side view and then a front view. We're going to step one foot up onto an elevated platform. We're going to lean our hips forward and down into that. And I use my opposite arm to rotate around. And I'm getting a good stretch all the way through my hip, down into my lower back and thoracic spine on this exercise. So there's the side and the front view. I would hold this for about 5 to 10 seconds and do about 3 to 5 reps or sets of this on a daily basis. Okay, the second test that we'll demonstrate will be the shoulder mobility test. And this is a very common one. We see it from a lot of people who've played baseball in the past or football, even onto somebody who may have fallen on one shoulder and have some kind of injury in the past. So as you'll notice during the test, usually we'll have better mobility one direction versus the other way, a bigger distance between those two. So the next exercise is a correction that we can do to help out with shoulder mobility. Okay, so I position myself against the wall. I'm going to try to keep my elbows back against that wall. I'm going to press up overhead, keeping my hands and elbows back as far as I can throughout that motion. This is a very tough exercise for a lot of people who are tight through their shoulders, chest, and thoracic spine.
All right, everybody, that concludes our blog for today. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about the assessments that you can learn for your imbalances, you can contact Kyle Shade at...
That's area code 812-767-0807, or my email is kshade04@gmail.com.
And we can also hit him up always on Facebook.
Under Peak Fitness.
All right, everybody. We'd learn, like I said, if you want to learn some of these, run over some of them. If you have nobody to do them with, you don't quite understand the applications yourself, please get a hold of Kyle or myself, and we'll make sure we take you through some of these. We'll do them free. It's just like doing a consultation here at Fit Reno. And to let you guys know, whether you stay here and train with Kyle or myself, it doesn't matter. Come over, get an assessment, find out where you are to lengthen your longevity and fitness program that you're in right now, okay? Take care, everybody. Have a great day.